John Wick Chapter 3 Parabellum is the latest in the John Wick franchise, which I'm glad exists. In a lot of ways, John Wick is a series that is very 80s action in a 2010 timeline, and I appreciate that. That's why I've liked these last two films, and I was excited beyond no comprehension for Chapter 3, which has now been given the subtitle Parabellum as well, which the film explains, and I do like that a lot. So John Wick Chapter 2 ended with John killing Santino D'Antonio on continental grounds. After that happened, the rules are you can't kill anyone on continental grounds, and so he has now been excommunicated from the Continental and the organization, and he's been given 1 hour to somehow escape. Otherwise, the world's assassins that work for the Continental and are waiting to get John's $14 million bounty are coming after him. And once that hour passes, the whole world is on alert to find John Wick and kill him, unless he kills all of them first. I'm gonna cut to the chase here. I think part 3 is fantastic. I think it's a really great film. I think it really succeeds in telling a good continuation of this character's story. It gives you a lot more in depth and builds up a universe in a very cool way. And also, it really manages to be on par with the first two films. In some ways, it might actually be better than the first two films. I'm starting to think it's better. I think in terms of action, it's easily the best of the franchise. The sequences over here are beyond anything that the first two movies have come up with. In a lot of ways, the sequences here are some of the best action sequences I've ever seen in film. They are beautiful. The first 30 minutes of this movie is one of my favorite opening acts to a film ever. Keanu Reeves is what, 54 right now? The stuff that he's done in this film and he's doing, since a lot of it is him and there's barely a stuntman around, or is there a stuntman around? Honestly, I would be surprised if it was all him, because so much of it is in camera and so much of it is with long extended takes that the stunts he has in this film are beyond anything that I could imagine. There are points where he's thrown across things and anyone would have just been battered by it, but he's just keeping on going. There are scenes where he'll ride a horse and take out motorcyclist assassins. I mean, what more do you want out of a movie? Chapter 3 is not perfect. I'll talk more about that later, but as an action movie, pure adrenaline, it is a wet dream. Honestly speaking, I can't see a better action movie that represents this kind of stuff. I mean, yes, there are other amazing action films that have come out in the last few years. Mad Max Fury Road comes to mind. But the sequence of events in these movies, the way they're going, it's amazing how they've somehow stayed this good. I'm really happy about that. And a lot of that has to go to the direction by Chad Stahelski, who has been part of this franchise since the very beginning. He co-directed the first one with David Leitch, who ended up directing Deadpool 2 later on, and he's not part of it per se. He's an executive producer on the movies right now. His work is unflinching, it's relentless, and I like that he has stuck to his guns. This film could essentially go over the top and overkill very easily, but he manages to keep it as grounded as possible. So despite the fact that it's going absolutely nuts, it doesn't feel like it's going absolutely nuts. And he manages to create this very tense environment, and I really love what he's done with these movies. If he decides to make chapter 4, 5, 6, whatever, just keep going. Keep going until Keanu Reeves says, I can't do this anymore. Just keep going. It's also gorgeously filmed. Like I was talking about the one takes, there are a couple of one take action sequences in this which were amazing. There's also some amazing cinematography laced throughout. The color usage, the neon lights, which have become a huge part of this franchise, fantastically used once again. New York has never looked more beautiful in a place, in a world where everyone's just killing each other. So it's wonderful. It's wonderful to see those things. The editing is top notch. For a film like this requires very specifically good editing, and it lives up to that mark. It has a phenomenal score once again, much like episode 2, chapter 2, my bad, which I will definitely be listening to multiple times. I think I listened to chapter 2 score 200 times when it first came out. probably gonna do the same with this one. This is excellent stuff. One thing I really like is that the entire cast over here is actually really good. Ian McShane is once again great as Winston. It's nice to see him again. It's nice to see Lawrence Fishburne again. I really liked him in John Wick Chapter 2, and I really like him here in Parabellum as well. Asia Kate Dillon, or is it Asia Kate Dillon? I'm sorry if it's one of those two. They're really great here. And Halle Berry was great. I was actually a little skeptical when they found out that she was in this film, but she's really great. It's nice to see her again in a role like this. She's having a lot of fun. She has two dogs that steal a major point of this movie. There's a scene, and they do it so well. I loved it. As for issues, sometimes the film drags at points when the action sequences are not going on, and I feel like that could have been streamlined a little bit. Not so much, even if streamlined, I think they could have been handled a little more smoothly. It just feels like at points there's scenes that are there to progress things, and I wanted to have a more natural flow, much like the action sequences we're having. Also, much like Chapter 2, Chapter 3 has a couple of elements in it that break that suspension of disbelief thing. For the longest time, all of these movies are based in a more concrete, real world. And then Chapter 2 brought up a couple of things which were like, that's kind of pushing it. And Chapter 3 in particular has a couple of things which are also sort of pushing that boundary. And I wish that, they would not resort to that so much, because it's so realistic until that point, until those points. I just like that to be there the whole time. Nonetheless, despite those things, I think this is a really great film. I really loved it. I can't wait to see it again. Keanu Reeves, keep doing what you're doing, man. I mean, this is amazing stuff. I can't wait to see what else you do. I was a huge fan of this film, and I can't wait for you guys to see it when it comes out on Friday. I'm going to give John Wick Chapter 3 Parabellum a 9.5 out of 10. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Look forward to more reviews very soon. And if you think the sound is like a fan in the background, it is. It's my laptop, which for some reason is going really loud recently, so I need to get that looked at. As always, if you like this, please do subscribe, and I'll see you guys at the movies.